This is Raymond Aaron, New York Times top 10 best-selling author, and this is Advent number 13, 13 out of 16. And what is it today? It's eat correctly. Eat correctly. And I'm going to tell you how I eat. Maybe I should say eat healthfully, because correctly means that I'm right and you're wrong, or if you don't eat the way I say that you're bad. So I don't want to do that. Eat healthfully. And why? Because you are a soul, and the soul has this body, this lifetime. And if the body deteriorates, the soul can't do much. If the body is weak, then it can't do a good job. It can't do any athletics. It can't train, can't exercise, can't do a good job at work, can't do a good job for your spouse. Sex can't be good if your body is weak. You can't do a good job at work. Mankind doesn't really want you if you're sickly. There's not much you can do with a weak body. Your soul actually deteriorates when you have a weak body. And you don't live as long. You might say, well, why should I live long? I remember I went to school with a fellow mathematician, and after like 40 years of graduating, we reconnected. And we got together, and I was startled. He was immensely overweight. And I said, why don't you take better care of yourself? He said, why should I? I'm going to die soon anyways. Whoa. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. He didn't take care of himself, as evidenced by the fact that he was so grossly overweight. And he isn't going to last long. He'll have diabetes or cancer or back problems. He'll have knee replacement surgery, hip replacement surgery. He'll have all kinds of chronic illnesses. And doctors will say it's because your liver isn't doing this, or your spleen isn't doing that, or it's not. When you're overweight, you're putting a strain on your body that it doesn't need and can't handle. There were no fat cavemen. Anthropologically, there were no fat cavemen because food was scarce, calories were scarce, sugar was scarce, fat was scarce, meat was scarce, berries were scarce, ground vegetables were scarce, everything was scarce. So cavemen were all thin. And now we're all fat, and our life expectancy is going down. I know it's rising, but it's actually dropping more recently. It's been rising for a few decades, but it's dropping now because of the rampant obesity, childhood obesity, adult obesity. 80% of adults in North America are overweight, and something like 40% are obesely overweight, and 10% are morbidly overweight. It's so gross. And why? Well, the food industry is against us. The food industry is out for its own profit and has no interest in our health. And the proof is that they trick us. They actually trick us. It's a deceit. I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist, but there is a conspiracy amongst all of the food manufacturing companies. They don't seem to have any ethics. It's quite shocking. For example, you'll see a product that says fat reduced. You say, oh, that must be healthy. Well, if they reduce the fat, they take away the flavor. The only way they can add the flavor back in is by adding sugar. And so fat reduced means they've doubled the sugar. And if they say sugar reduced, it's because they've doubled the fat. And so it's all a trick. I looked at a potato chips bag, and it said 50% reduced fat. I said, maybe that's good. So I looked at it. I never allow myself more than 25% fat content in any food, 25%. And when I looked at it, they said normal potato chips are 80% fat. This is 50% reduced, only 40% fat. But I don't allow myself more than 25%. So even the 50% reduced potato chips are still way out of my diet. They're out of my regime. I don't eat like that. I don't eat like that at all. And so what I'm going to tell you about my eating regime is going to sound pretty upgradient. It may sound crazy to you, but I'm just going to tell you the way I eat, and I'm going to tell you the results. The result is that I'm not thin, but I don't know what the word is, svelte or okay or something. And what do? I don't consume any dairy products, no milk, no cheese, no yogurt. Why? Because if you look anthropologically, if you look back at what people did or what undomesticated animals do. Mammals in the wild drink milk from their mother when they're an infant and never drink milk from the mother after infancy, and never, ever, ever drink milk from another animal species. So why is man drinking milk from another animal species, the cow? Why? Why? So I don't drink milk. I have meat, but very little, and very, very little red meat. Why? Because meat goes bad fast. If you let a raw slab of meat outside on a hot day, like 98 degrees Fahrenheit, it's about 40 or 45 degrees Celsius, something like that. On a hot day, after an hour or two, you wouldn't want to eat it. Well, in a lion's belly, a lion eats raw meat, that stuff gets flushed out very fast. But in a human, the GI tract is a lot longer. And in vegetarians like cows, the GI tract is very, very long. And so if a lion eats meat, it's okay, because before it putrefies, that means goes bad, it's already pooped out. But a human has a much longer GI tract, because a human is intended to have mostly vegetarian but only some meat. And so the putrefying actually starts in the human. The food, the meat that you eat actually goes bad inside your body. And the worst it becomes is at the bottom of the GI tract, which is the bottom of the colon. And that's why colon cancer is the most prevalent and growing cancer, is because humans are eating too much meat. And a cow that has a very, very much longer GI tract, that's gastrointestinal tract, that's from the mouth to the anus. A cow has much longer. If a cow eats any even tiny bit of meat, it's fatal. And some moron decided that cows should eat meat, and the end result was mad cow disease. What moron decided that cows should eat meat? In any case, I eat very little meat, and I have no dairy. I have lots of veggies. I eat organic as much as I can. I can't do it in restaurants, but I have it as much as I can. And those are some of my rules. I eat as many veggies as I want, but not as much meat as I want. I have very little amount of meat. And I have no sugar. No sugar. Gosh, is that tough. These darn manufacturers, they put sugar in everything. McDonald's has sugar in the bun. I'm sure they have sugar in the patties. They have sugar in everything. Why? Because it makes it taste better, and it makes you eat more. This is amazing. Oh, by the way, I don't eat bread or any flour. And you might say, why do restaurants give you unlimited number of bread at the beginning of the meal? I used to think, boy, are they stupid. Why would they, when you fill up on bread, then you don't have to eat as much. It doesn't seem to make sense. And yet every restaurant did it, so there must be a financial reason. Here's the reason, you'll be shocked. Bread, especially white bread, turns into sugar almost immediately because it's all processed. And when it turns into sugar, it gives the body a craving for more sugar. And so what you do is you order dessert. So the restaurants that offer you free bread at the beginning get more dessert orders. Bread, dessert. No bread, much less dessert ordered. Amazing, eh? So no flour, no wheat, no bread. I drink lots of water. And those are some of my rules. If you find that you're not in good health or that you're overweight, you need to get not on a diet. Stop it. Don't do diets. Because if you do a diet, that means you reduce your calories. Your body interprets it as a famine. Only in a famine would you not eat as much as you should. So the body says, oh my gosh, there's famines where this body lives. I'd better be careful to hold on to my fat even more tightly. So it's harder and harder for you to lose weight on a diet. And then when you finally give up and end your diet and have as many calories as you want, the body says, oh, the famine is over. But because we live in an area where famines might come back, we'd better gain more weight, hold on to more fat. And so the more diets you go on, the fatter you become, because when you give up your diet, the body holds more fat. It's crazy. Anyways, those are some of my lessons on eating, and the only proof that I have that it works is because I'm not fat and I'm healthy. People who are unhealthy or who are overweight don't eat correctly. And medical doctors don't seem to care. This is crazy. Like, if I ate cake, just cake, every day for a week or two, I'd get so sick, and I'd go to the doctor, and he would diagnose that I needed these pills. But he probably wouldn't ask, what have you been eating? It's amazing. Anyways, not necessarily doctor bashing, but eat healthfully. And tune in tomorrow for Advent number 14 out of 16. I'm leaving my best ones to the end.